Ah, finally. At long last, I finally beat Elden Ring. Good game, but god damn was it long. I need to play a game that's less difficult and a lot less, horrifying in terms of its designs. Not you. I said less, not more.
After the disappointment of Star Allies, I remember interviews talking about where the Kirby series will go next. I heard that the director wanted the next game to be the most action-packed Kirby game. At the time, I just thought we'd get another 2.5D Kirby game, but with even more moves for copy abilities and more intense bosses. The real answer was that Kirby would finally go fully 3D in a mainline game, the first time ever. When I first saw footage of this, I was really excited. I was hyped up for the potential for how the game would be just by adding a Z-axis. And now the game is out, is my excitement warranted? The story for this game is very simple. Kirby is on a walk, and a portal opens up in the sky, and Kirby and other inhabitants, namely Waddle Dees, are sucked through. Kirby awakens in another world and needs to rescue the Waddle Dees. On his way, he rescues a new creature named Elfilin, and the two team up to save the Waddle Dees. Yep, just a simple story. Okay, I'll get into spoilers later into this video, but for the most part, the story is just there to give a reason as to why everything is happening. The most basic thing a story is supposed to do. Kirby needs to rescue the Waddle Dees and stop the Beast Pack. That's it. The portal is an excuse to not have Popstar be the main world again, since that world has been exhausted, and we have a new one to explore new territories with. That's really it. The story is just there to be there. You can get more tidbits and lore through the collection figurines throughout the game, which gives you more info, but the base story is barely a thing. While I'd normally give a game flack for that, I only do that for story-heavy games, and until late-game stuff, Kirby isn't story-heavy, so having a passable story isn't a problem in this case. The graphics, presentation, etc. of the game are fairly good. The character models look shiny and are textured nicely, and the environments are gorgeous. Even though the layout and design for each world isn't anything special, since it goes through the basics, like a starting grass area, a desert world, an ice world, etc., the way they look are great, with beautiful lighting and nice visual details. While Kirby and the Waddle Dees are simple in design, all the new characters look great. Creatures with fur look like fur, and they have memorable designs. Do I need to explain what happened when Clawline was revealed? No. I'll just point out how Swole Kong has facial hair and shaved whiskers, and I love that. Although, I don't like how the game usually runs at only 30 FPS, but in some menus runs at 60. Is this game's simple art style still too much for the Switch to handle? It looks more cinematic at 30, sure, but 60 feels better. But HD Kirby can't reach that yet, I guess. Thankfully, besides one moment, there are no frame drops, and the frame rate is 99% stable. The gameplay of this game is both expected and unique. Despite it being in full 3D now, the game still plays exactly how you'd expect. You can automatically run now instead of double tapping the walk button, but otherwise you can jump, slide, select enemies, and gain abilities, swim, and you can hover. There are no underwater sections though, so attacking in water without a copy ability is gone, and I would like to see underwater levels return in future games. In order to not break the game and make the platforming a legitimate challenge, the duration of your hover time is limited in a similar vein to Kirby 64. All that stuff is still present. The change to 3D means that we lost not only a lot of copy abilities, but those abilities have drastically reduced movesets in previous games. Some moves do still have more than basic attacks, but they are nowhere near as fast as they were before. To make up for it though, the game introduces a few new or altered mechanics. Guarding is still here, but the dodge mechanic is greatly improved. Unlike the very Smash-like dodge of the previous games, it's now more akin to Bayonetta. You even get a slow-mo dodge if you time it correctly, which I will now call Poyo Time for the rest of the video. Poyo Time allows you to get a strong counterattack or just reposition yourself should you pull it off successfully. This is a great addition to gameplay, and gives you reason to practice boss patterns and learn their timing to pull off Poyo Time well each time, and doing better and better each fight. If you have a copy ability, you can immediately counterattack and Poyo Time to deal great damage. And let's talk about the copy abilities, shall we? Like I mentioned before, you don't have a lot of copy abilities, but in turn, each copy ability can be upgraded. I really like this. Sure, I would like more copy abilities on their own, but stronger and cooler versions of existing ones with new designs is a nice compromise. Sometimes they may attack faster but have less power, or the opposite with lower power but faster attacks. Some of the abilities might have special properties, like how the Final Fire upgrade turns the burning air attack into a flying fire dragon. If the trade-off for less abilities and less moves for 3D games is these upgrades, I'm all for it. I'd like to see what they could do with Fighter and Staff and stuff. There are also 2 new abilities, and they have upgrades as well, those being Ranger and Drill. Drill is what you'd expect. You can drill into the ground. I'm not fond of this one. It works better for puzzles and not really for combat or platforming. It's like a limited version of Animal. Drill worked better when it was a combo power or the final attack of Robobot. Ranger is a much better ability. It's like Archer or Cupid, but with street cred. Okay, the gun is more like a blunderbuss that an old-timey hunter might have had, but the idea that Kirby owns a Glock that could kill lions is a much funnier image. Anyway, it does exactly what you think it does. You can shoot things. You can charge it up multiple times and aim it almost anywhere, which makes it a good demonstration of what a new power-up in 3D can do. Even though I am disappointed in the lack of abilities and the limited movesets, I understand why they were done, and I think that the upgradable abilities and one of the new abilities help to make up for it. And it helps to keep things fresh. The main power-up gimmick for this game is... mouthful mode. Since Return to Dreamland, each mainline game has had some big gimmick to vary things up, so it's not just the base gameplay all the time. RTD had Ultra Copy abilities, Triple Deluxe had Hypernova, Robobot had the mecha suits, and Star Allies had running a train on your friends. With your friend. The friend action mechanic. Here, it's mouthful mode, in which Kirby absorbs some special part of the environment to solve a puzzle or do some platforming. In a technical sense, these things work fine. They do the things they need to do. To me, though, I don't like these at all. These feel like the most useless and most forced gimmick in the series. I feel like just being in 3D was new enough that a gimmick could have waited for the next game. While I'll admit they're integrated more like the robo-suits, where they're used for multiple purposes and not just select moments, it feels like the most forced and pointless gimmick, and it makes little sense. It's like if Hypernova gave up halfway through. I liked seeing super abilities based on abilities Kirby is actually known for. He can copy abilities, so have a strong version of that. He's known to suck in a lot of things, so have a super version of that. Both get integrated into gameplay and can cause hype moments as well, and they also factor into the plot, as one-off as they were. Yeah, Robobot doesn't have that since Kirby isn't usually known for riding robots, but he has ridden other things before, and the game still integrated the new mechanic well enough to where it didn't clash with anything, and it still implemented the copy abilities, so it didn't forego establishing things Kirby can do. This just doesn't do that. Plus, half Vor is horrifying to see. So, gameplay-wise, mouthful mode is fine, but it's not my thing personally. So while there are some things about the gameplay that aren't great or are massively disappointing, majority of the new stuff makes up for it very well and is fun to play, and I like to see how this new change will evolve in future games. The music in this game is... wrong soundtrack. Anyway, the music in this game... God damn it! Music in Kirby games are usually good to begin with, and this is no exception. You have the very comfy and soft-sounding music, funky and relaxing music, and music that really pumps you up. Then towards the end game, the music is usually foreboding or epic. There's even a vocal song after the tutorial section. Kirby has an actual anime opening. Besides the actual anime opening. I love how the Invincibility theme is just a rock remix now. It makes you feel powerful using it. My favorite track, though, has to be DD's new mix of his theme. I love the whole primal and wild aspect to it, with the chanting and the guitar being fucking awesome here. And the trumpets are great as usual. Yeah, the music is good. No surprise there. Of course, the bosses in this game are good as well. They mostly have simple but memorable designs. Again, do I need to describe how people reacted to Clawroline? The early bosses have easy to learn patterns, sure, so they may not be too difficult, but they're good practice for perfecting Puyo time, especially Clawroline and Silly Dillo. Carol has easy to read attacks that are straightforward, and Silly Dillo has more unorthodox attacks, so you learn to dodge more complex maneuvers, such as his spin attack in Phase 2. He also has an instant kill attack, something no other boss in this game has, so it's not all fun and games. That doesn't mean there can't be challenging ones, though. The Meta Knight fight in the arena is when I knew that the bosses in this game would be special. I mean, even though in the majority of games you just start fighting him, here you first get a quick clash in a cutscene and a boss intro. The fight starts out like your average Meta Knight fight, just in 3D. But once he reaches phase 2, he launches a shit ton of boulders at you, and most of his moves get much faster and he is more aggressive with them. He also has a special QuickTime event if you do the right things to activate it. Fail, and he uses his Smash Ultimate Final Smash on you. Win, and not only does he lose his sword, you can steal Galaxia and get the third sword power up early. It's fucking awesome! Seeing how much a boss we fought for years has improved so much by making him more of a true action game boss made me see how special the bosses in this game could be. The DDD fight is also really good. He starts off with simple hammer moves and ground stops as per usual, but in the second phase, he grabs a pillar and takes his Pillar Man audition from Star Allies literally. He now uses a pillar to attack you, and while his patterns are fairly simple, he has ice attacks that can throw you for a loop if you're not careful. That's pretty much all I can say on the bosses until the spoiler section, but yeah, despite the simplicity and fairly easy difficulty, the bosses in this game are still well designed and fun to fight. I do have a bit of a complaint about the main collectibles of the game, the Waddle Dees. Each stage nets you 3 if you're beating the stage, 3 to 5 hidden ones, and 3 that require specific tasks to be completed. If the player misses the hidden one, that's fine. It's hidden, so there's a possibility of missing them, and it's not too dissimilar to other collectibles in other Kirby games. My problem is the ones that require tasks to complete. While some can be easy to figure out without even knowing what they are, some are so obtuse that requires you to play the stage again to get them, if you want to 100% the game. Granted, most of the stages are really short, so getting back to them isn't too much of an ordeal, but for the times where it's a boss fight or a longer stage and the Waddle Dee task is at the very end of the stage, it's less of an accomplishment and more of a chore. It feels like padding to increase game length, and less of a hide-and-seek game that developers probably intended them to be. So, collecting the Waddle Dees in general isn't a problem, but the specific tasks for some are. There's another collectible in the game, which is rare stones. They are mostly used to level up your copy abilities, and you can gain them from arena matches and challenges around the map. The challenges are a great way to practice the capabilities of each ability, and how to handle them fast since you are timed. They're fun. Now, I'm going to go into spoilers, which will cover more of the story and a couple of bosses, so if you don't want to be spoiled, go to this point in the video. We all good? Okay. Holy fuck, is the endgame and postgame really good! After DDD decides to become a wild hog, you find the leader of the Beast Pack, and he's possessed by literal Eldritch Abomination. Like, not some cutesy take on one, an actual Eldritch Abomination. That eye is legitimately creepy. Like, I know one of the main character artists for Kirby drew Cosmic Horror, but he seemed to tone it down for the games, but Fecto seems to be just a normal design for him. No toning down. We learn more about the villain, and it turns out that Elfilin isn't technically the main villain like everyone thought he would be. He's only part of the main villain. I'm glad that the frankly unwarranted stigma of Kirby's new friends are the main villain thing isn't used here. There's a lot of mystery about where Fecto came from, but it's implied that he is a completely evil alien going around wiping planets out, and the inhabitants of the Forgotten Land captured him and treated him like a zoo animal, but left before he could escape. God, that's so much more interesting than the main plot. As for the fight against him itself, it starts off absorbing everything and becomes a freaky slime monster. The fight isn't great since he only has one attack, and it's just a slow chase fight, but the fight after that? Holy shit. The final boss is just a Platinum Games fight. Seriously. Fecto merges with Elfilin and becomes Fecto Elfless. You fight it at a beautiful sunset and on top of a roof. Cinematic and action gamey as fuck. It's got a decent moveset as well, using its spear and summoning a bunch of, well, summon swords.
Motivation.
Halfway through the fight, it corrupts the sky and can start summoning meteors and heal itself, as well as varying up its moveset ever so slightly. And the fight ends with Kirby getting his truck out to run over a stray god on the side of the Cosmic Road. The fight is fantastic, but is topped when you get to the post-game and think you're going to fight the Soul version of it, only for Morpho Knight to appear and give you what is essentially a much harder version of the Meta Knight boss. And when you win, you get Morpho Knight's sword as an upgrade, And it's so broken, but so cool! And then, in the true arena, we get the actual harder version of Elphalus, and it is fantastic. Well, I'm not fond of Phase 2 being just another ball, as Kirby Fallen bosses are wont to do, but the fight prior is perfect. The endgame is so good, and I left out quite a few details too. It's probably one of, if not the best post-game in any Kirby game. Overall, this game is great. While there are some things that irk me, and majority of the game has no challenge, how it brings Kirby into 3D, what they've done that's unique to this game, and the endgame and postgame content more than makes up for the few grievances I have. I give this game a 9 out of 10. Feast your eyes on a wild world of 3D platforming action. The portal is an excuse to not have Popstar be the main role again, since that world has been exhausted. And we have a new one to explore. Puyo Time allows you to get a strong counterattack or just reposition yourself should you pull it off successfully. Pull it off successfully. Oh god, suck. Oh Jesus. This review is terrible. The fight is fantastic, but is topped when you get to the post game and then you're going to fight. Why am I terrible at speaking?